Welcome to part 2 of Board Game Coffee's top 50 board games of all time. I'm Mark Maya, and this is Board Game Coffee. On this episode, we're covering games 40 to 31. Let's see what number 40 is. Hate. I'm actually not very angry, but Hate is awesome. Now, thing is with Hate is it's a Kickstarter exclusive, so you're not going to be able to just walk into your local retail store and pick this up. So you're going to have to find some sort of off-market thing. But I needed to put it on my list because, first of all, I've had a lot of fun with this one. And the concept that I kill my enemy and eat of his flesh to improve myself is awesome. Not in reality, but as far as this world we're pretending to be in, yes. Reality, no. Do not eat your neighbors. Not cool. So, Hate. Awesome minis. And I like first of all, this game looks great. And there's so many more boxes in this. This is just the core box. Like, I got the Kickstarter and there's just tons of stuff. We have an unboxing video, if you're curious. It's a big one. And miniatures look awesome. And the gameplay is fun. That's why it's on the list. So we scheduled an entire day to just hate on each other. And there was 4 of us. And basically the way it works is I have my clan and I go versus another clan. And then there's another group of people playing their clan versus. So it's like 1-on-1v1, but you can run multiple 1v1s. And then the winner of those, it works kind of like a sports chart type of thing. Like you score for your wins and then you switch combatants. So then you fight other people. And then there's this whole map where you're like fighting for territory and you're picking what battles you want. It's really cool. So it's a 1v1 combat strategy game where, placement and what your characters do, you have to utilize them to their best. It's a really cool, if not dark, apocalyptic theme where you control a clan. There's so many different clans that just do horrible things to survive. Oh, and my favorite part is the cards have these clear sleeves. So what you do is you slide. It's like modifiers. So there's these clear cellophane modifiers that you slide on top of your card, and they either scratch out certain stats of your characters or improve other stats or add abilities. That's really cool. I really enjoy doing that. And there's this whole track sheet because chances are you're not going to get an entire campaign of Hate played in one day. We got through half of it in about 8 hours. So it's a biggin'. So prepare yourself. But if you're looking for something just big and mean and just a good time of just, eating people and just overall slaughter and apocalyptic gameplay, this is it. If you're looking for something sweet with Care Bears and hearts, and rainbows, this is not it. Not it. But for everyone else who likes this, oh yeah, I like it. Yeah. At 39, we've got Quacks of Quedlinburg. This game's a good time. I'm not gonna lie. Super easy to learn, and it's a Kinderspiel des Jahres, if I pronounce that even close to correct, winner of 2018, and it deserves it. It's fun. It's easy to play. We actually have a review on the channel if you're curious what were like our full thoughts of it, but they're positive. We liked it. The group of us, it's basically, here's what the game is. You're playing a bunch of quacks, right? Doctors who are trying to put together medicine, and you're basically collecting these like mushrooms and moths and different types of ingredients for your formulas. And how you do that is, first of all, you have this black bag. So it's a bag building game where you buy these tiles and you stick them in your little bag, and then you pull them out and then you place them in your cauldron in order. There's rules. You can't just place them willy-nilly. And then you place them in your cauldron, but you got to be careful, right? Because there's these little ones, these little white things. I forgot what they're called. But if you pull out 7 of them, your cauldron will explode. It's like you put too much Mentos in your Coke and it did not go well. And then you're done. No more scoring for you. It's bad. Don't do it. So what you want to try to do is a little bit press your luck, right? You're building your bag. You're trying to customize your bag. You know there's good stuff in there. And there's certain tiles that play off each other and to earn you more points. So the more tiles, or the further you are up, because your cauldron is shaped kind of like this corkscrew pattern. So the further along you are, the more points you get. But to get far, you can't pull the white explodey parts. Those are bad. But it's really fun because the way you customize your bag is different from everybody else. But that press your luck is where the stress comes in, right? Because you see everybody plays simultaneously. So you see how everybody else is doing. They're all reaching to their bags or placing their tiles. And you're thinking, wow, Brittany's doing pretty good. I just gotta keep going. But I've already pulled out like 5 of those explosive things. Those aren't good, the white tiles. But you're like, you know what, I'm gonna do it anyways. And then they're like, oh, I got a cherry or whatever. The cherry bomb's bad. Whatever. You pulled something and it's good. And you're like, okay, I'm doing good. You start sweating a little bit, right? And then, so you reach in again and you pull out the cherry bomb. You're like, oh, that's not good. But you have to put it in there. There's no putting it back. Well, there is. Those are special abilities. Normally, you have to put it in there. And then, you have to decide, do you pull again? Because if you do, it could go bad. It could go bad and just end your turn right there. And then in between rounds, you get to shop and buy new things or buy just different things you can do in between rounds. And how you did in the cauldron making round determines on what you get to do in the in-between rounds. But there's a cool catch-up mechanic with rat's tails that really help. Now, I really like this game, but when you get to the last round, you pretty much know who wins. So there's a lot of excitement until you get to the very end, and then kind of just like, well, we know Chris is going to win this, or whoever, because they've already got a lead, and chances of you getting there are slim to none. But it's still fun, and that's it. That's all I got to say. Quacks of Quedlinburg. It's worth the play. Check it out. 38, Escape Plan. Now, another Vital Lacerda Ian O'Toole combo. Now, if you don't know, Vital Lacerda, game designer, awesome. Ian O'Toole, artist, also awesome. This is art you're looking at right now. Ian O'Toole does not miss. When he does art for a game, it's on point. It's great. And Vital Lacerda, he knows how to make a good, like, heavy, meaty Euro that just, they're clever. So you combine those two, and you get gold. Gold. Anyways, Escape Plan is great, right? Because it's a Euro, but it's wrapped in a very non-Euro package. Because the theme is you're playing these like shysters, these con men, these criminals. Everybody at the table is a criminal. And how it works out is you've had a successful career as a criminal. And then the jig is up. The cops are closing in. So everybody's got to like scatter, collect as much money as they can, and get the hell out of Dodge. But the cops are everywhere trying to stop you. Your cohorts, your companions, it's not a co-op game. So like thieves, you can't trust them anymore. They're trying to save their own skin. So they're trying to get out too. And there's big benefits for getting out first, because it's hard. After that first player gets out, it's hard to be the second player that gets out, and then it gets harder from there. Like it gets trouble. It's great though. Right? Because you're playing on a city map and you're checking out all these lockers where you have money in. You're going to businesses that you've, I guess, corrupted, and then you're trying to you cash out any money you've put in there because you've hid money all over the city. So you're trying to gather as much as possible so you can get the hell out of Dodge. It's a good time. It's a good time. Art's great. Gameplay's awesome because, Vital was there. Vital's my man. We have never met, but Vital, I'm Mark. Big fan. Big fan. Anyways, Escape Plan. Check it out. Great. Great game, great art. Letters from Whitechapel comes in at 37. This is a hidden movement game. Now, if you're new to hidden movement games or you don't know what that is, hidden movement game is basically one player is playing off the board and he's trying to avoid the detection of the other players. And in this case, the one player is playing Jack the Ripper and the other players are playing the cops. And they're hot on your tail. Or at least they think they are. So, how this goes is there's like 4 or 5 nights you're Jack the Ripper, you're committing your murders, and every night you gotta like take off to your hideout. Now, the cops, because you have to be honest, this is a game of honesty. As Jack, you have this little board, right? And you're keeping track of your movements on your board. And you have certain abilities as Jack. You can like duck through alleyways or get on a taxi. And a taxi back in the day is, like a horse and buggy type of deal. This isn't like a yellow cab. And each of those give you special abilities, like the alleys let you cut through buildings or blocks, I believe the cab lets you move faster, and I think it lets you move through cops. And the cops, they have no idea where they are. The most they can do is like they can investigate an area or perform an arrest randomly. And if you're on there when they perform the arrest, you lose. It's done. Easy, right? No. As the cop, it is not easy. As Jack, it is so much fun to watch them squirm. I usually play Jack. I'm not a very good investigative cop, but I am a decent Jack. Brittany, on the other hand, she plays the cops a lot. She's caught me quite a few times. You know why? I do well and I get cocky. I get cocky as Jack. I'm like, they're not going to catch me. And I start running loops around them. Now, on the board, you can't see it, but in my mind, on my paper, I'm just going around them in circles. Why? Because I can. Because you're trying to throw them off your track, right? You're Jack the Ripper. You're not a good person. You're trying to reach your hideout. And if you reach your hideout every night, when you get to the last night, if you reach your hideout, you're done. You escaped. They have not caught you. Bravo, Jack. But the cops catch you, they win at any point. So the cops have I think it's like 4 or 5 nights to catch you. This is a great game. It's really easy to learn. It's fun with 2 players, because even if you're playing 2 players, they still control I think it's like 5 cops. They still control all the cops. But if you're playing with 4 or 5 other players, each of them control a cop. And then they can talk to each other. So it's funny it's as Jack listening to them about how they devise their plans, and it's great. It's because it's kind of like you as Jack are hiding in the alleyways, listening to the cops or watching the cops from a distance and seeing how they're bumbling around or how close they're getting. It's really cool. It's a lot of fun. It's probably my favorite hidden movement game. So if you haven't tried it yet, check out Whitechapel. So worth it. At 36, we've got Mice and Mystics. Now, Plaid Hat, they put this baby out. Plaid Hat they know how to set a story, how to set a narrative. You know what I like about Plaid Hat games like this and Dead of Winter? They do such a great job at building this world that you're playing in, right? So when I play a Plaid Hat game like Mice and Mystics, I feel like I'm in the story. Now, in Mice and Mystics, it's an adventure game, so it's a cooperative adventure game. You're playing, the enemies control themselves, so everybody's working together. But basically, Mice and Mystics, you're playing through a storybook as these humans who were turned into mice. And it's so cute. It's such an endearing game. I love the storybook aspect of you're just taking part in this children's storybook. And then you find things like, even this, you see this, that button is his shield. And he builds little weapons. There's this fish scale armor that you get. That was my favorite because I'd have that and you could put that on and lure the cat away because the cat is attracted because there's a giant cat. You see him right there. On the board game, he's just a giant paw. But there's this giant cat that chases you around. You have to work together. And then there's rats that you're fighting and insects. And it's so cool. There's so much to say. I love the narrative. I love the story. I feel like it sucks me right in. And I think it's just such a fun, wholesome adventure. It really feels like I'm in those kids' storybooks from when I was a child in the 80s, and it's all encompassing. I love it. I get totally sucked into it. I totally buy them. This little mouse crawling through his little mouse holes, building weapons out of buttons and whatever I can get. I dig it. Mice and Mystics. If you're looking for a co-op adventure to play with just a nice warm environment to play it in, something you can play with your family, check out Mice and Mystics. It's a good time. Harry Potter Hogwarts Battle comes in at 35. Now, this is a cooperative deck building game. Now, I don't know about you, but when I first heard Harry Potter on a deck building game, I was skeptical. As in, I thought it was going to be okay, but it was just going to be a license just thrown on a typical deck builder. But it wasn't. It's so much more. They integrate Oh, this is by USopoly, by the way, known as the OP or the OP now. That's what they go by. Anyways, they integrated the story into this card game. Great. If you're a Harry Potter fan, check this game out. If you're a Harry Potter fan and you like deck builders, you should have this already. If you don't, what is wrong with you? You need to have this. It's a great cooperative deck building game. Me and Brittany, we love deck building games. Now, we usually play competitive deck building games, but we do like cooperative deck building games. And this is one of our favorites. When you first start off, it's broken up into like 8 chapters, and each chapter being a book, or 8 books. I don't remember how they label them. But there's these boxes, kind of like a legacy game, but it's not a legacy game. You take out the box, so if you're playing book 1, you take out the box and you get your heroes, and they're like younger versions of themselves. And as you get older, their abilities change, and you get older versions of them, and you unlock different villains that you're dealing with. So it follows the story nicely. So the villains are trying to like basically just cause trouble, and you're trying to stop them. They're trying to take over areas, and you're trying to stop them from doing that. What's great about this deck building game is it changes so often because the enemies are randomly drawn, and what they do on their own is always the same, but how they combine with another enemy you drew, that team up could be trouble. If you've played competitive deck builders and you've just started this, you might think, wow, the first 1 or 2, maybe even 3 books are really easy. You're gonna start feeling the difficulty kick in when you reach book number 4, and then 5 gets harder and 6 gets harder. The ramp up on the difficulty of this is awesome. It's an awesome good time. It feels like it's getting harder, like the stakes are getting just higher. It's great. If you're new to deck building, if you want to get into deck building games, this is a great start because the first book is easy. It's like baby's first deck builder. I've described it there before, and that sounds like a bad thing, but it's not. It's just simple. If you're new to deck building, then you'll get it. It'll be perfect for you. But if you're a deck building pro or aficionado, then you'll be like, this is too easy. But hang in there. It gets hard, and it's worth it. It's worth the wait. It's a great game that ties the series in together beautifully. Harry Potter Hogwarts Battle. Check it out. And Awakened Realms brings us our 34, Nemesis. Now, Awakened Realms, they don't mess around. They also know how to build a setting, a narrative that you just get sucked right into. Now, if you right there, I'm talking to you. If you are an Alien fan, like Alien the movies, you need to give this a go. This is the best Aliens board game I've ever experienced. And it's not licensed Alien, so it's not actually an Aliens board game. But it is. Legally, no. My experiences with Nemesis are limited. I haven't played it much. If I did, but what I have played, I loved. If I would have played this more, it'd probably be higher up on my list. So it is where it is because of how much I've experienced. But what I've experienced, I've loved. I can't see it getting worse. I can only see it getting better. But again, I don't want to make that call unless I actually do it. That aside, this is great. It's a cooperative, semi-cooperative type of game. There is a cooperative mode, which I'm not. It's not really my thing. I would play it, but there's the semi-cooperative mode, which that sings to. Oh, that's sweet. That's the sweet spot right there. Because here's the deal. In a lot of cooperative games, you're forced to work together. You have to, right? The game tells you those are the rules. You have to work together. But in Nemesis, you see, it's more like real world, right? You'll work with somebody as long as it benefits you. Because everybody has their own agendas out in space. They're stuck on this ship. The ship is infested with these nasty aliens. But you have to do whatever it is you have to do. Either make sure the ship gets to Earth or steal some alien eggs. Whatever it is, there's so many different scenarios that everybody could have. There's different characters. There's like medics and engineers and more. And each of them have different abilities and different card sets, and then they'll get their own little secret mission. And here's the thing. Here's where the semi-co-op thing comes in. This is where I think it works really well. In other games where you're forced to work cooperatively with each other, in Nemesis, like I said, it's only if it suits, as long as it suits you, you will. And in the beginning, it usually suits everybody, right? So you're like, yeah, I'll work with you. I'll help you get your egg, as long as you help me make sure this ship is pointed in the right direction. How's that? that work out? That works out for all of us. Excellent. Excellent. But now who knows? Maybe as soon as you get your egg, or as soon as I get the engine started, I'm gonna be like, you know what? I think that's the end of this partnership. I gotta go. But that's a slippery slope, because if you do that, there's nothing from stopping them from detonating the ship. Well, other than these bad boys right here. You all want to work together to prevent your mutual destruction. But at the same time, you want to get out of there with your ass intact and your goal achieved. And to do that doesn't always necessarily mean that your human partners need to survive your little ordeal, right? It's really cool. It kind of brings like real world cooperative thinking into it. There's like real cooperative negotiations at the table. And it's spooky when these things show up. Oh, it's scary. It's intense. This game can get intense. And it's just so good. It's so good. You're creeping around the ship. You're not trying to make noise, but you're always making some kind of noise. You're hoping you're not making too much, because when you do, they show up. And when they do, that's bad. It's so good. It's so good. If you like the Alien movies, you gotta play this, because you feel like you're living in the Alien movies. It's so good. So good. Space Base from AEG comes in at 33. Now this game is a good time. Now if you like rolling dice, bam, that's what this is. Now, Space Base, here's the thing. I'm gonna tell you a little story. The thing with Space Base is, you got a bunch of ships, right? They're all on the table. And each of these ships are assigned a number, I believe it's like, is it 2 to 12? I think it's 2 to 12. Or 1 to 12. It's 1 to 12. Yeah. Anyways, so you got these ships. You buy these ships and you put them on your little tableau that you're building. And they all have numbers. So you roll these dice, and then whatever ships, if you have any ships in those slots, so if I roll a 6 and I have a ship in 6 that scores me, I don't know, 3 monies, whatever the currency is used in this game, you get 3 monies. But if your 6 is, I don't know, say your 6 was a 5 and a 1, but you have nothing in 6, but you do have something in a 5 or a 1, or maybe both, you can split those dice. Instead of being a 6, you can make them into a 1 and a 5, so you can score on both those cards, which is great. So you'd see why higher ships, like number 12s, are hard to get, because you can only get those if you roll like 2 6s. Well, actually, there's some special abilities that let you kind of like push your numbers a little further, change it up a bit. But other than those, there are certain numbers, the higher numbers, they give you better rewards, but they're harder to get. And here's the great thing is, every ship, because you customize, right? There's tons of ships. So like, if you want a ship in your 7 slot, your 8 slot, your 9 slot, that's fine. There's ships for all of those. But in each of those slots, there's ships that have different abilities. They'll either give you experience points or monies to spend or whatever. They'll give you the ability to change the dice. There's so many these little abilities. So you're building this little like engine or your own custom slot machine. And every time you roll the dice, it's like pulling that arm. You see what comes up, and you're like, the dice are rolling around like ding, scored, I hit a 9. That's exactly what I wanted. And here's the good thing, is the cards have a bottom and a top, right? So when you retire a ship, it goes to the top of your tableau. And then now, that ship is scoring on other people's turns. So when other people are rolling, you're also scoring dice. So you score, the thing with Space Base is, you score on everybody's turn. You have a possibility of scoring on everybody's turn. So you're always engaged, which is great, right? Because you roll your dice, you could do your thing, and then everybody scores on your dice, if they can. And same thing goes for everyone else. It's more beneficial on your turn, because the cards have these color codings. Basically, there'll be numbers that you can score this card when you roll on, if you're the one that rolled. If it was your turn, when you scored this card, you get this. If it was somebody else's turn, when you scored this card, you get that. And there's other codes, I think it's like green or something, that you score that no matter who rolls on whose turn, yours or theirs. So it's great. You're building these little slot machines, and everybody's got their own little tableau set up, and everybody's scoring, and it's very Vegas-y. You're like, yes! Except with superpowers. It's Vegas with superpowers and no Vegas theme, because you're in space. It's great. It's easy to learn. It's fun to play. You can just bring this out. If you just like rolling dice and matching numbers, take this. It's so easy to play. A great job from AEG. They did great on this one. It was a lot better than I expected. I played this more time. You know what? Here's the thing. This made it on my top 50 list. I might have won this once. Maybe. I'm not sure. Brittany's won plenty. I lose this so much more than I have won this. But it's great. Like, I just kind of want to play it now just looking at it. Because it's so easy to jump into. Check out Space Base. At 32, we have Space Explorers. This is a great title. Space Explorers is awesome. I have a lot of fun with this. What I can tell you is Space Explorers I like a lot better than Splendor. When I played Splendor, I thought Splendor was okay. That's all right. I'll give you a sneak peek. Splendor is not on the list. But Space Explorers is. The art on Space Explorers is amazing. Now, Space Explorers, I compare it to Splendor because it's got that mechanic where everybody has their tableau, right? And then there's these scientists or engineers on the table, and everybody's cashing in cards to buy these cards to put on their table to build this engine. Now, the engines that you build in Space Explorers are more advanced than basic vanilla Splendor, but not as advanced as Gizmos. Both great games. Space Explorers and Gizmos. Splendor on. Space Explorers looks great, and this whole theme of like the space race and this it fits the art. It just that style of art. Can you see it? Do you see this? That's throughout. And you know what's clever about it is actually if you look at the cards, it's like this. If you look at Scientists, it's the same piece of art for all the cards, but they just zoom in, and you don't even notice because the art is so good. So again, this game, you've got cards. You're buying cards, which are characters like engineers and astronauts, like scientists, etc. And you put them into their rows where they belong on your tableau. And what's interesting about this, unlike Gizmos, your abilities are always available. And as in, no matter how many cards you have stacked on top of each other, all the abilities trigger, so you can have a lot more happening. In Space Explorers, you have to be careful, right? Because if you have one scientist and you're liking their ability, but you get another scientist and you cover that, you block out that previous ability. You have access to, like I mentioned, there's a bunch of different roles, but you only have access to the special ability of the last role you played on top because they stack. So you put a card there and a card there and a card there. That's how it works. So you have to be careful what you do. The rule book, fantastic. It's a simple rule book. Understood it right away, had no questions. There's very few games that I have, like very few, maybe one or two, that I've never had to go to BGG to check out anything. This is one of them. No need. They do an awesome job of explaining everything. If you haven't heard of it or haven't tried it, you gotta try Space Explorers. If you like Splendor, you're gonna love Space Explorers. And if you like Gizmos, you're gonna love Space Explorers. Try it out. It's great. Capping off our list at 31 is Love Letter Batman. Now, you've probably heard about the Love Letter series, and they're pretty much all the same. This is by far not the original, but a lot of them, basically Love Letter, how's I gonna say this? There's tons of them out there with just tons of IPs just slapped on them, like Love Letter Hobbit and Love Letter Game of Thrones. I'm actually not sure if that's one of them, but a good chance it might be. Love Letter Batman, though. Here's the thing. Love Letter's a great game. In any format, any IP. And now each IP, they do try to tweak it just a little. There's a little something they add. And honestly, I've been playing Love Letter Batman for so long, I forget what they added here that was different from the original. But I don't remember it being anything huge. But I know basically you're playing cards and all the cards are either heroes or villains from the Batman universe. And you're trying to earn bat signals that look just like this, little wooden cutout bat signals, and to win. So what's great about this is, again, it plays like all the other Love Letters. So if you know how to play one, you know how to play them all. And they're not hard games to learn. But the best thing about these things is I've taken this bag, that's why I don't have it in the box, I've carried this bag with me to restaurants or to bars, and you just break it out and you teach people how to play and you play. It's easy, and then if you're waiting for your food to come, you just wrap it up and put it in the bag and it's done. It's clean. Easy cleanup, easy setup. It's a great game. And yeah, that's all I really have to say. It's fun, and the reason I went with Batman is because I'm a huge comic book fan. I love that, and I actually prefer this over the original. I don't remember why. I just remember I do, because when I was playing them all, because I played a bunch of versions, this is the one I like the most, and I kept it. So it's the only one I have now. Love Letter Batman. It's a great version of Love Letter. Now, if you already have Love Letter, do you need this? I don't think so. But if you want to try Love Letter, I think you're okay with trying Love Letter Batman first. It's good stuff. And that wraps up part 2 of our top 50 board games of all time. Now, when I say all time, I mean my personal all-time favorites. And you know what? I haven't played everything. There's a lot of things out there I haven't played. You're probably gonna see the list and you're being like, why didn't you put Cthulhu Death May Die on there? You know why? Because I haven't played it yet. By the time these videos are out, I will have, but I haven't yet. And I'm sure that's the kind of game that would make it on the list. But you know what? Doesn't matter. All the games listed are great. And I'll probably have to put out another top 50 because it was hard to choose these 50 to narrow them down. And yeah, and when you're in I've mentioned this before, when you're in the upper echelon of the 30s, the 40s, it's all kind of a blur. They all kind of mingle together, as in one is not necessarily better than the other. They're all just great overall. It's when we start getting to the 10s, to the 1, that's when the real review starts. See you tomorrow for part 3. Thanks for joining us. If you like this video and you want to see more, subscribe to our channel. It's the best way to keep up to date with everything we do here at Board Game Coffee. But if you want to see more right now, we got plenty of videos to choose from. And if that's not enough, follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. I'm Mark Maya, and this is Board Game Coffee. And remember, have fun, keep gaming, be social. See you next week.